Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Okay, so we got the full summary of One Piece chapter 1155. Let's just get straight to it. This is awesome stuff. So the chapter starts where the last one ended. Loki said rocks that they're in Elbaf, but he said his dad was out on an expedition. Loki was very surprised because that was the first time he saw tiny people. Rocks asked Loki his name. Then Rocks demanded Loki to go home to call his father because he should treat Loki's wounds. Loki refused and attacked him, but Rocks used his sword to counterattack. Okay, Rocks really not pulling his punches. He's just a straight up pirate all the way. And then Loki said, "What makes you think my dad is going to come back from something like my injuries? And how dare you order me around? You look like a weakling." And then Ari says, Rock's sword attacks are known for sending the surrounding objects flying as if it was the impact of a giant hammer or a cannon blast. Okay, the power scalers will probably be going insane over this one statement, but very interesting. And then Rock says, "Wah ha ha ha! Oh no, look, Loki is gravely injured." Okay, this gets me thinking. So Loki thinks he had minor injuries and his dad wouldn't go home because of it, and then Rock just gave more injuries just to give his dad more incentive to go back. Okay, this is both evil and comedic at the same time, but obviously not good because like he's injuring a young Loki, but he's just like, "Hey, I'll injure you more, so like my call Harold because I need to talk to him." Man, that's pretty intense stuff. Anyway, next part. Okay, we go back to the flashback at the reverie that took place 8 years ago. And it starts with the soldiers at the Pangaea Castle reported that 5 kings had been attacked and kidnapped by a large man dressed in black, obviously Rocks. Then we see Emu in the Room of Flowers. Emu says the lives of mere kings cannot be used as a bargaining chip against Emu. Rock says, "I thought as much, but the Holy Land is a mess now." We suddenly see that Rocks was sitting on the ground near Emu, but he had a pistol on his hand. We also see a woman servant kneel down next to Emu that looks like Gunko. She wore something similar to a nun habit with a mask in her mouth. Emu stared at Rocks while a very fierce Rocks threatened Emu. And the narrator says, "Unlike anything before and for the first time, someone had managed to get into the deepest part of the Holy Land, into the Room of Flowers. The man revealed himself as an admirer of Davy Jones." Davy Jones, man. Another Davy Jones. And that was all he did. He knew what he can't do, but he did leave behind a few words. Rock says, "One day I will come back here." Okay, so I can get from all of this is Rocks kidnapped 5 kings, tried to bargain with Emu. Obviously, Emu didn't fall for that because of her Emu, like the lives of kings are not a worthy bargaining chip. And we know Rocks has a pistol with him, and Emu wasn't alone when he or she talked to Rocks. Emu was accompanied by a servant who looks like Gunko, but we had to see the manga panels when the full chapter is released to find out. And we know that Rocks says he's an admirer of Davy Jones. I mean, we know he used Davy backfights to build his crew into a very high level crew because he got so many powerhouse pirates, some Davy back fights. But maybe there's more to it than that. Something for another video, maybe. And he said, and the narrator says he knows what he can't do. So he was smart enough to know he couldn't beat Emu because he probably didn't know the full details on Emu's abilities and powers and whatnot. But he did leave behind a few words, and he says, "I will come back here." Okay, so this is kind of like Luffy and Ace with Wano, because Ace said in the past that he'd help Wano against Kaido, but obviously that didn't happen because Whitebeard forbid Ace from doing that because it would be an all-out war between Whitebeard pirates and the Beast pirates. But Luffy finished what Ace wanted to do. So this kind of is like a mirror for like Rocks and Blackbeard, because it's confirmed Blackbeard is the son of Rocks, and we know in the present Emu is says the Holy Land is under attack. And like we don't know who's attacking, but if this flashback with Rocks and Emu is good, like this way of saying like what Rocks started, Blackbeard will continue. He will continue his father's legacy, and it's all that theme of inherited will in One Piece. Like Roger to like Shanks to Luffy, and then we got Rocks to Blackbeard. Inherited wills, awesome stuff. Okay, this chapter is full of impressive stuff. So let's get to the next point of the next part of this full summary. Okay. To the next part of the spoilers, Rocks found Harold in Marijois City when both tried to escape. In an epic double page, we see they attacked each other. The clash of their conquerors' hockey was similar to Roger versus Whitebeard or Luffy versus Kaido. Their swords didn't touch each other. Narrator explains the clashing of those two strangers wiped out all who were within a 5-kilometer distance. They both introduced themselves to each other while they were fighting. After the short clash, both escaped together. Harold asked Rocks which way was L back because he was lost too. Okay, is he like Zoro or something? That's kind of funny. And then Rocks told Harold that if both survived, they should meet again. But Harold told Rocks he would never get involved with a villain again. Then Harold jumped off the red line. Okay, that's freaking insane. But considering he's a giant with ancient giant blood and he's a king, he probably has the durability to pull it off. And Rocks was shocked to see how crazy Harold was. Lol. Okay, they just met in like the Holy Land. They probably had some sort of plan, not fully explained, but they had a Conqueror's Hockey clash. Maybe this is like a minor argument, but they turned out creating an epic amount of damage in the Holy Land and that Conqueror's Hockey clash. I can't wait to see the panels of that fight. That brief clash is going to be awesome. It's going to be all over the freaking internet. One Piece community is going to make a lot of artwork on that Conqueror's Hockey clash. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so much cool spoilers. Next part. Okay, so after the what do you call that? After the Harold and Rocks thing, we find the narrator explains that despite the emergency treatment, the admiral that Rocks attacked in Marijois finally died. Okay, more info on the admiral. So even with emergency treatment, the admiral died. Okay, there we will definitely, like in future chapters, there will be more information released about this admiral Rocks killed. Maybe that admiral has a connection to one of the admirals in the present day. Okay, then so because of the admiral was killed by Rocks, the world government put a high price on his head. We see Rocks' wanted poster, but we can't see his bounty. Why won't they release the bounty? Ah, man. I hope like when if there's more of this flashback, we can actually get a full bounty reveal on Rocks at his peak as a captain of the Rocks Pirates. But okay. And it says here, sometime later, Rocks attacked the ship that was carrying the heavenly tribute towards Marijois. More Rocks villainy, more pirate lore. Man, this guy is an awesome villain. All this info is like the agenda on Rocks. His stocks are so high right now. A lot of people are gonna invest in Rocks, saying, "Well, this guy is awesome." But he's obviously as a villain, obviously. Okay, and then he takes the heavenly tribute, and he even destroyed a gate of justice escape. Damn it, this guy's too much of a villain. And this guy's like charisma, and he's a great villain. With the money and the ship at his hand, Rocks kicked off his pirate career. During the following years, pirate ships were Rocks' new targets. He played some Davy back fight games to get new crewmates. Oh man, the Foxy crew arc and Foxy crew Davy back arc in One Piece 3 times skip. Man, everybody rewatch that arc. It may be like somewhat uninteresting at some points, but damn, this connection with the Davy backs is awesome. Okay, however, Rocks did not officially form his pirate crew yet, so they were just a gang of villains following Rocks. So that, I guess at that point when Kid Loki met Rocks and like some of Rocks' crew members, he wasn't like a full-blown captain yet. He was still forming his crew. Okay, next part of the spoilers. Everything in this spoilers is awesome. Okay, back to the present of the flashback 48. Years ago, in another amazing double page, we see that Rox and 6 of his crewmates were eating in Aura's castle with Harold and Loki. Loki was lying in a bed with bandages on his body. Harold quickly returned from the expedition when he heard Loki was injured. Although Loki was almost well healed already, Harold asked him, "Don't go again to the underworld." Loki was very happy to see his father come back for him. Okay, that's good. Like, despite all the people who dislike Loki and Elbath, at least his dad, Harold, actually cares about him. So that's good. Good stuff. Rox wanted Harold to join him because he knew world government ignored all of Harold's requests. So basically Rox was like, maybe this guy, he doesn't like the world government is treating him like really badly. So like maybe he'll align with Rox because they both don't like the world government. Okay, but Harold refused, saying he would lose all the trust he had earned from other nations. Oh yeah, because he wanted to be like a diplomat type king who had good relationships with other nations around the world. Okay, good. And then Harold asked Rock's crewmates, why are they following that man? That's a good question. Why are they following that man? Okay, next part of the spoilers, comments on like each of the Rox pirates were with Rox and why are they with Rox. Okay. Okay, next part of the spoilers, you're gonna get like some commentary from each of the 6 Rox pirates who are with Zebek right now in Elbath. So we start with Shiki. He says, "Follow who? This idiot? Don't make me laugh. We are on our own. Even if Rox drops dead, it won't make a difference." Style is Shiki the Yakuza, later known as the Golden Lion. And then Stussy, the original Buckingham Stussy, says, "Exactly, but there's something about his plan. Sounds like a brilliant opportunity to get rich." Okay, so basically, it feels like Stussy is like Buckingham Stussy is like the Nami of the Rox Pirates. Okay, so in her title is Miss Bucking, the Science Robber. Her full name is obviously Buckingham Stussy. And then there's Marlin. He says, "Have you heard of Hachinosu, the island of exile, also known as Pirate Island? It is the island where countries used to relocate ruthless criminals about that their own prisons can't handle." So it's like more lore in Hachinosu. Okay, more lore and myth on the island. And then there's his full name is Don Marlin, the gangster from West Blue. Okay, Don Marlin. Interesting. Maybe connect to the worst generation guy, Beige Capone. And then there's Newgate. It was supposed to be an uninhabited island without food where you were just waiting for certain death. Edward Newgate, the pirate, also known as Whitebeard. Okay, it's interesting that that's his title, the pirate. Okay, the next comment from the next Rox pirate is Wang Ji. But in recent years, those criminals are surviving and forming their own organizations. What do you think is the reason? Wang Ji Achoku, the pirate guru, future admiral of Pirate Island. So this is the guy, the former Rox Pirates guy that Blackbeard defeated to get the so that he could take control of Hachinosu. He's probably the one in the Rocky Port incident. Okay, and then it says here, and then there's Ganzui. I could be pronouncing the name wrong. It says, there were gold veins under that island. Some underground organization caught wind of that and lent the criminals a helping hand to become filthy rich. Okay, so there's treasure under Pirate Island. Awesome. And his style is Ganjui the smuggler. And more information about Ganjui. Ganjui was the huge guy wearing a full armor that we saw in God Valley. Okay. And one of Moria's zombies in Thriller Bark. Okay, so like Captain John, who became a zombie also. Ganjui became a zombie. Don Marlin is a gangster inspired in characters like Vito Corleone, maybe Beige's father. Yeah, same thoughts here. And Wang Ji Achoku is a guy that looks like Caribou. And Caribou, maybe it's like the father of Caribou, but it's just like speculation right now. Okay, next part of the spoilers after this comments from the Rox Pirates crew members. Okay, so Rox asks again Harold to join him. Loki goes out of bed and eavesdrops on Rox and Harold's conversation. Loki cried with emotion when he heard Rox's words. Rox says, "Come with me, Harold. Me and you together, we will be unstoppable." And then Harold says, "Stop that. I am the king of a nation." Rox says, "That doesn't matter. Let's take the world." The world, Loki said, "The world." And the narrator says, Later, Loki realized he has been saved. Okay. I'm gonna search something right now. Just a quick second. I remembered the interaction between Saint Saturn and the Blackbeard pirates in Egghead, and like Saint Saturn asked them what they wanted, and I think it was either Lafayette or Katarina Devon saying to Saint Saturn, and they said the world. Okay, so this kind of adds further proof that like Blackbeard wants to carry on Zebek's goal to be king of the world. So more interesting stuff. Very nice, very good. All right, so the next part of the spoilers, I think this is the final part of the spoilers. It says in the last page of the chapter, we see several ships approaching Hachinosu as narrator talks about what happened 4 years later, 44 years before present time. So this is like, what do you call that? Maybe like a few more years before the God Valley incident, okay? And then narrator says, 4 years have passed since then, with Harold turning down Rock's invitation every single time he offered it. So he didn't just offer it once, he offered multiple times because he knew Harold was an overpowered hockey warrior. Awesome. And finally, Rock's plan with elite group of people who agreed with him is about to be executed. Rock says, "Let's go, boys." And then chapter ends with Rock's pirates flag waving for the first time. Okay, so we're probably gonna see like the official formation of the Rock's pirates. We're probably gonna see, maybe if the flashback doesn't end next chapter, we're gonna see like the exploits of the Rock's pirates in their absolute prime. Okay, next chapter is hype. This chapter is hype. Oda is cooking. Break next week. That's completely fine. But damn, this full summary was a roller coaster of information. I am stoked for the next chapter. And like what? Okay, that's about it for this full summary video. Wow. Okay. On to the ending segment of this video. Alright, that's about it for the full summary of this video. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think of the chapter? What do you think of all the lore bombs dropped in this chapter, all the world building in this chapter? So much information on Rox, and Rox's meeting with Harold, his interest in being the king of the world, the dynamic between the Rox pirates, Loki's getting inspired by Rox D. Zebek. Very interesting stuff. So again, let me know down in the comments, and if you like this video, please give it a like and maybe subscribe. But I really want to know, what do you people all think about this chapter? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's great? Do you think it's amazing? Do you think it's legendary? Do you think it's a 10 out of 10? For me, it's a 10 out of 10. But anyway, have a good day, everyone, and see you in the next one. Peace. Peace. Boom.